Hello and welcome to the Nerd Cave Remote Technical Support video channel. My name is Jeffrey Cobb and today I'm going to be familiarizing you with applications. Specifically from one application to the next, I want to show you how their features are fairly similar and how to find things in each application. I'm going to start with Firefox. One of the reasons I like Firefox is they've kept the main menu bar up here. For any of you familiar with applications will recognize this. People new to computers may discover that some applications you run don't have this, but this is a feature that's fairly old, probably since the first Windows application was ever written. I like it because I'm familiar with it. I know where everything is on a menu bar. These menu bars are fairly standard from one application to the next, whether it's a browser or a graphics editor or a document writer like Word. Under File, we'll have the option to open new items related to the application. In this case, new tab, window. You can open files and save files if you want to. You can also print from here or exit the application. Under Edit, you have Cut, Copy, and Paste, as well as Select. You also have the Find feature under the Edit tab. This allows you to search for text. Some applications, the Find feature will actually have its own menu entry. In this case, in this particular application called Genie, which is what I use for editing programs, Search has a main menu bar entry, and you can find all the Find features under here. And the reason it has its own entry is because it has an extensive Find feature. You can do quite a bit with this, so obviously it deserves its own entry. If you go to Chrome and, for example, Edge, these two browsers, they both have replaced the menu bar. You can't even turn it on anymore, but they've replaced it with this single menu button over on the right-hand side. If you click it, you'll get access to most of the basic features you would find on a menu bar. Like you can open new windows and print from here and access settings from here. Chrome is fairly similar, new windows and print and settings. If you want to save, under More Tools is the Save page. I don't believe Edge has that feature anymore. From what I'm told, if you want to save a page, you actually have to go to Print and then save it as a PDF, in which case Microsoft Print to PDF is the option that you have. And it'll save it as a PDF file. I don't believe it saves HTML files anymore, for anybody familiar with HTML files. HTML is the language used on the internet in order to display web pages. If you're using a Mac computer with OS X, you will notice that the menu bar has always been available, and it has been for as long as I can remember, or at least as long as I've been using OS X. For example, this is Safari, and when I switch to Safari and it has the focus, and what I mean by has the focus is it's the window you're currently using and it's the window that's currently selected. The menu bar, the main menu bar at the top, will change to Safari options. If you open a different application in OS X, you'll see the menu bar will change specific to that application, like in this case, Calendar. If I go back to Safari, the main menu bar switches to Safari. If I click the desktop, the main menu bar switches to Finder, which is Apple's version of the File Explorer. And you can see the menu entries are fairly similar to that of Firefox. As you can see, there's a main menu here, and File, Edit, View, and Tools and Help. And all their basic features are fairly similar to OS X, which has the same thing, File, Edit, View, and Help. Now, history and bookmarks are items that are specific to browsers only. Regardless of what browser you open, you'll usually find an entry for history and bookmarks. Under Chrome, I believe you can access history from the menu button. Under Edge, I don't believe you have access to those options anymore. If you do, they certainly didn't make them very prominent. That's one of the issues I have with Microsoft, is when they change from one major version to the next, they tend to play a bit of a shell game with the controls. For example, in Word, they've kept the menu bar for the most part, but they've changed the drop down to a ribbon instead. That's not too difficult to get used to, and it's actually kind of nice, and I'm actually glad that they at least kept some idea of the menu bar there. There's a few things I have to search for, like if I want to go about, it won't be under help anymore. For example, you can do about Firefox by clicking help. About is always under help. Or if you're using a Mac, about is always under the application name. For example, Safari, and then about Safari. You can find help there, or at least not help, but application specific information. So you can get the version number and whether or not it's up to date. Anyway, that feature is in the same place on Firefox. In Word, I have to go down to account and I can get the access to about there. So that's not too terribly difficult. But the Microsoft Edge has really thrown me for a bit of a loop. I have a little bit of trouble getting used to it, so I really don't use it that much. The other thing I want to point out is not to get too confused with applications. I know from one application to the next, people can get thrown for a loop where things got put and what's different and all that kind of thing. But there's always a way to find something, even if you have to search for it. You might have to do a little bit of digging to find it, but usually there's always a way to access something. If Firefox didn't have the menu bar anymore, I would probably be able to find it on its menu button, which is this hamburger button here. Most of the options I'm looking for are here. Another trick I use if I want to do something specific to some content on the page, for example, I highlight some text, I can do specific things with it by right-clicking it and seeing what options are available for it. In the case of an image, well, this isn't an image, this is a link, but I right-click the link and it gives me some options to handle the link. I can save the link or I can open it in a new tab and a number of other things. If I'm working with images, I can right-click the image and I can copy it or save it or open it in a new tab. So basically, I just want to point out that you can usually find what you're looking for if you know how to use your application. Now, applications with menu bars are pretty easy to figure out from one to the next because you're always going to find things under File that are always there, Edit that are always there, View that are always there, Help, Tools, etc. But the newer applications, obviously, they're starting to move things around. So what you're getting familiar with is starting to change as time goes on. Software companies are trying to make their programs look more elegant and less confusing. The downside is if you're used to one particular set of things, you have to find them, and in this case, they're even completely removed. So you have to do a little bit of tricks here and there in order to get things handled. The ribbon bar in Word, for example, that's something I've kind of had to get used to, but fortunately it didn't take too long because it did still keep the basic menu bar layout. And in Word also, if you right-click items, it gives you an option to handle those a certain way. So it always helps to right-click for things that you're looking for, because even if you can't find them on the menu bar, sometimes they're available in the context menu. That's what that's called, by the way. When you right-click something, it opens what's called a context menu, because it's in context to the item that you have highlighted or are clicking. Today I just wanted to get you familiar with some basic application layout, how it works from one operating system to the next and from one application to the next. It's fairly the same, but they are starting to go through changes. Software companies are changing the way people interact with their applications, so you'll have to get familiar with that. But I think for the most part, a lot of the features that are available in the older applications are available in the newer applications if you know where to look. That's it for this video. I hope it helped you out. Make sure you visit our website, www.the-nerdcave.com, and tell your friends about me. I'd love to hear from them. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.